In the eerie backdrop of my first year at college, the chilling events unfolded in the brisk month of October. Nestled within the dormitories, where each floor demanded a key card for access, I found myself nursing a sports injury that mandated rest. Unfortunately, this meant bowing out of the vibrant Halloween parties, an undeniable blow for a self-professed horror fan like me. Determined to infuse some cheer into my life, I dedicated my time to crafting costumes and skillfully applying makeup for fellow students. With my creative endeavors complete, I packed up my makeup and headed toward my room for a night of horror movies. However, an unexpected visitor disrupted my solitary plans. A stranger approached me, introducing himself, initiating a brief chat, and exchanging email addresses. Politely bidding him goodnight, I headed back to my room, only to realize he had stealthily followed me in, despite my explicit intention to enter alone. Awkwardness flooded the air as I struggled to convey my discomfort, eventually resorting to a direct plea for him to leave. He reluctantly left. As the night wore on, I discovered a string of emails from this newfound stranger. The first exuded friendliness, but subsequent messages asked about my online whereabouts, setting off the first alarms. Days passed, and the unwelcome visitor persisted in knocking on my door, disrupting my studies. In a desperate bid for privacy, I faked my absence, only to find him resorting to stealthy tactics, hiding from the peephole to catch me off guard. Fearing for my safety, I confided in my roommate and fellow floor residents, cautioning them about this unsettling presence. The situation reached an alarming climax when a text arrived, warning me to stay away from my own dorm. The reason? The stranger had stationed himself outside my door. Fleeing to a friend's house for the night, I returned to a disconcerting revelation of his prolonged stakeout. He waited for 4 hours. Undeterred, the stranger escalated his campaign, tailing me like an ominous shadow. He waited outside the dorm building, inserting himself into my daily routines, from classes to the cafeteria, transforming the campus into a maze of anxiety. Desperate for a solution, I sought assistance from the resident advisor, only to find the situation complicated by the stranger's manipulation of his own RA, who believed we were romantically involved. In a bid for collective safety, my floor mates banded together, turning routine activities into group endeavors to discourage his advances. Yet he managed to sneak onto my floor once, prompting a synchronized effort of hiding and support to thwart further intrusion. As the tension spiraled, unwanted phone calls became a relentless onslaught. The stranger, undeterred by my pleas for space, intensified his hourly barrage of desperate pleas for attention. The toll on my physical and emotional well-being became evident. I was losing weight and projecting an image of profound distress. Desperate for a solution, I once again sought refuge in the resident advisor, detailing the escalating nightmare. Dorm authorities finally intervened, delivering a stern warning to the stranger to cease all contact or face eviction. The reprieve was temporary as a final email arrived, a torrent of accusations and delusions portraying me as the malevolent force in our non-existent relationship. Mercifully, the harassment stopped after that alarming outburst. Haunted by the traumatic experiences, I would occasionally spot him on campus, his persistent stares serving as unsettling reminders of the harrowing ordeal. The shadows of that dark chapter lingered, even as I endeavored to move forward from the relentless pursuit that defined those harrowing weeks. In my senior year in high school, I found myself entangled in a stormy romance with a boyfriend who was a junior and whose demeanor had taken a turn for the worse. The once endearing qualities now masked a darker, controlling, and judgmental side, eventually escalating into outright abuse. Faced with the looming prospect of college life at the local university, I made the heart-wrenching decision to sever ties. As the ink on our chapter dried, my ex-boyfriend's sanity seemed to unravel. What followed was an agonizing decline into chaos, marked by a relentless barrage of threatening messages, a staggering 200 a day, each dripping with malice. My phone became a channel for his anger, an unyielding storm of verbal abuse that shattered the peace of my upcoming college adventure. Determined, he found a way to invade my space, turning up unannounced during my classes, disrupting the normalcy I sought. His desperation knew no bounds. He went as far as to break into my car, lurking in the shadows of the back seat like an evil specter. Luckily, I spotted him. By the time the authorities arrived, he was gone. A casual movie outing with my best friend became the backdrop for his next invasion, the first of many instances that blurred the line between safety and sheer terror. In a bid to escape, I traded my vehicle for another one with different plates, hoping to throw him off my trail. Yet, he persisted. The halls of my college dorm, once a fortress of independence, were violated as he snuck in the front door, tearing through the last shreds of my peace of mind. This intrusion proved to be the catalyst for a decision to abandon the dorms, seeking refuge in an off-campus apartment shared with 2 female roommates. A fortress of sorts, yet even here, his cruelty found a way. The boundaries of privacy blurred further as he encroached upon my home, an unwelcome presence. The sanctity of my shower became the setting for an ordeal that left me shaken to the core. I had just gotten out of the shower. His sudden appearance in the living room, a knife glinting ominously in his grasp, was the chilling climax of a nightmare I could not seem to escape. Desperation and fear gripped me as I dialed the authorities, locking myself in the bathroom until the arrival of law enforcement. By the time they arrived, he had vanished once again. My journey towards healing included a blooming connection with a new, genuinely caring guy. My past would not be easily shed. My ex-boyfriend crashed one of our dates, assaulting the new guy with the help of 5 friends. As the chaos unfolded, I found myself a target, enduring physical harm and verbal abuse for being branded a cheating whore. The scars of that night ran deep, leaving an unforgettable mark on me. Fearing for my safety, I sought comfort in my parents' house. The nightmare was not over. One fateful Sunday evening, my ex-boyfriend was beating on the door of my childhood home. The entire family was present, and it was then that my ex-military father, a towering figure at 6'5", took matters into his own hands. Confronting the intruder with a firearm, he quelled the immediate threat, and in that intense moment, the gravity of the situation instilled enough fear to bring about a temporary reprieve. To this day, my dad's actions serve as a haunting reminder of the lengths one can be pushed to in the face of relentless torment. While the saga did not end in tragedy, the scars, both physical and emotional, linger. The last 5 years have seen an image of peace, marked by periodic returns home, during which my ex-boyfriend, now a mere shell of his former self, averts his gaze in silent acknowledgement of the consequences of that fateful encounter. I used to work at Subway. About a year ago, at the age of 20, I, a small and petite young woman with stretched ears and facial piercings, accidentally became part of an awkward tale that involved a weird regular customer. I can't help but be nice to everyone, even if they creep me out. This gentleman, whose age was somewhere between 35 and 40, exhibited an unusual fascination with my appearance that was more than the typical interactions one might expect in customer service, changing into a series of increasingly unsettling encounters. His daily routine involved lingering at a specific table for extended periods, his gaze fixed on me as I navigated the busy Subway store. He would sit down after I rang him out and watch me from his table for 2 hours non-stop, just staring at me while I helped other customers. The initial inquiries about my stretched ears and facial piercings seemed harmless enough, mere curiosities in the eyes of a peculiar customer. However, they soon evolved into persistent requests for my phone number, transforming the once routine interactions into a disturbing pattern. This goes on for a few weeks. Yet, despite my polite refusals, his lingering presence continued to cast an increasingly uncomfortable cloud over my workdays. The big moment in this story happened on a day that seemed filled with bleak air, as if the universe plotted to set the stage for an unsettling surprise. The store, typically a hive of activity, sunk into an unusual lull, and I found myself alone in the back room as my manager momentarily stepped out. We were slow that day, so I was just in the back room messing around on my phone. I heard the door chime, looked up, and yet no one was there. Then I saw the man walk past the front of the store quickly, like he was in a hurry. Seizing this opportunity, the man took advantage of my manager's absence, dialing the store to confirm I was alone. What happened over the phone was not merely confirmation of his presence, but an unending flood of questions that not only violated the boundaries of normalcy, but plunged into the murky depths of the disturbing and the intensely personal. At this point, I really got creeped out and knew it was him. So, I hung up and texted my manager about the situation so she would hurry back. A surge of alarm and powerlessness gripped me, urging me to describe the disturbing event to my manager upon her return. As the lunch rush resumed, the man kept up with his unsettling calls, each one a disturbing invasion into the sanctity of my personal space. My manager, sensing the gravity of the situation, answered the phone with a sternness that left me both curious and uneasy. However, she chose to withhold the details of their conversation, surrounding the exchange in a cloak of mystery that only heightened the suspense. Clinging to the hope that this unsettling chapter had closed, I was instead met with a brutal curveball, a stark reminder that the most disturbing stories have a way of ruining our expectations. A week later, as I prepared to finish my workday, a chill coursed through me as I spotted the man lurking near my car. Panic set in when I saw him get into the back seat of the car and duck down. I had forgotten to lock my back door. I told my manager what happened. My manager took decisive action. She locked the store, creating a protective barrier between me and the impending threat, and promptly contacted law enforcement. When the police arrived, they arrested the man, unveiling a sinister inventory in his possession that freaked me out: a menacing butcher knife, scary lengths of rope, and a rag saturated with chloroform. The realization of the coming danger struck me with a force that lingered long after the incident. Had I not been alert and timely in my actions, the track of this agonizing story could have taken a tragically different turn, plunging me into the pit of unthinkable danger. The lasting impact of this ordeal extends beyond the immediate sense of danger, piercing my everyday existence with a heightened awareness of the risk that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly everyday moments. It serves as a reminder that our lives are elaborately woven into a complex story, and each chapter, no matter how disturbing, contributes to the patchwork of our personal growth and strength.